ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरुवे सर्वलोकानां श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्।
Namaste and welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam for another delightful, wonderful and divine Satsang. We are all seated at the altar of the Supreme Consciousness, and this altar is not confined to our home, it's not confined to your home, it is beyond time and space. So anytime, anywhere you are at this moment, the fact that you're tuning in into the Satsang, into the higher dimension, you are in the presence of the divine. Let us begin the satsang by invoking the powerful energy of Ganesha, who clears the path in the Sushumna that allows the consciousness to awaken, allows us to experience higher dimensions of feeling, of devotion, of enlightenment.
गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा, विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा, गजानना हे गजवदना, गजानना हे गजवदना। विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा, विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथ, गङ्गणपतये नमः ॐ 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 गङ्गणपतये नमः विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना गणनाथा 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 प्रणवस्वरूपा गणनाथा प्रणवस्वरूपा गणनाथा पर्तिपुरीश्वर गणनाथा पर्तिपुरीश्वर गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना ॐ गणपतये नमः 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 विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना गणनाथा 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 प्रणवस्वरूपा गणनाथा प्रणवस्वरूपा गणनाथा पर्थिपुरीश्वर गणनाथा पर्थिपुरीश्वर गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना ॐ गणपतये नमः 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 Namaha Harihi Om.
For those of you who have just joined, Namaste and welcome once again to this divine Satsang. As always, we are so honored to be seated here, to be able to even offer this and have your company, the bliss of your company, together in this virtual space that we have created, which is so divine, so clean, so pure, so alive with divine vibrations. May such vibrations fill each and every one of your homes, fill your body and mind, cleanse it, purify it, protect it, and let those divine vibrations spread out into this world, spreading health, abundance that we so badly need today. May everyone be safe from the elements, from the weather, from diseases and health. May the divine protect each one of us. We are in the process of studying this wonderful poem, Stotra as it is called in Sanskrit, verses of praise, praising the highest supreme consciousness, meditating and contemplating on this supreme consciousness as one's own personal guru. This is the beauty of it. The whole thing becomes a very personal connection to this supreme consciousness. It belongs to everyone, and yet it completely and wholly belongs to each one of us. Purnamada Purnam Idam. So your connection is equally profound, direct, and complete in itself. Have faith in that connection with the divine, and in that faith begin to invoke the supreme energy. Before we begin to study the stotras, as always, let's sing the Brahmarpanam. Brahmanandam. Not Brahmarpanam. Brahmanandam Sloka. Maya is having a good laugh. Brahmarpanam is the stotra that is usually chanted before food. So I don't know why that slipped out of my mouth. Maybe I am hungry, I don't know. But Brahmanandam, I'm definitely hungry for the supreme consciousness. So let us invoke and meditate upon this beautiful energy.
Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvam Asyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Sadgurum Tam Namami Sadgurum Tam Namami.
Sadgurum Tam Namami, the teacher who points us to the truth, the teacher who awakens the truth within us, the teacher who reminds us that the divine that we are seeking is ourselves, and what we are seeking is a reflection. To that divine teacher who points us to the supreme truth, we bow our heads. So Sureshwaracharya, one of the chief disciples of Adi Shankara, also very dearly called Padmapada by Adi Shankara himself, compose these meditative verses as it is recorded. Though there are, I must confess, though there are other versions that attribute these meditative verses to certain other saints. So don't hold me accountable in the sense that these are again so many theories, because these are at least 2000 years old now. So there are so many versions of this. Perhaps he composed one verse, maybe the others added more verses of meditation. We don't know that. But nevertheless, the beauty of these verses are simply so beautiful that whoever composed, all these saints and sages and yogis, it's profound. It's profound. So we finished the first verse of these 6 verses. So let us sing that, and then we'll go on to the next verse. मौनव्याख्या प्रकटित परब्रह्म तत्त्वं युवानं वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसद ऋषिगणैर् आवृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दमूर्तिम् स्वात्मारामं मुदितवदनं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे. And then we move on to the next verse. Allow me to sing that. वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जननमरणदुःखच्छेद दक्षं नमामि जननमरणदुःखच्छेद दक्षं नमामि. We come to this second verse, very beautiful verse, which describes where is this scene taking place. So in the first we described the form of the Guru and talked about who was sitting around him. And then the next question perhaps comes logically, so where is this happening? Where is this divine confluence of Gurus and the Supreme Guru happening? Where is it? The mind asks this question, and then the spirit answers to that. Vata vitapi samipe. Vata vitapi samipe. Vata vitapi samipe. Vata. Vata is banyan. Vata vriksha. Vriksha is tree. The vriksha word is not here, but vata. And here it is called vitapi. Vitapi is that which has branches. Technically, okay, the vitapi doesn't technically mean tree, but I just put it there because that's a simpler way of understanding it. The banyan, that which has branches, vata vitapi. Vata, the kind of the tree which has a lot of branches. The reason why I believe and I think they use the word vitapi here, which means that which has branches. All tree has branches, right? But why did they attach that kind of adjective to Vata Vriksha because branches are very unique in banyan trees. Why? Because each branch becomes a root. So the author here, Sureshwara, wanted us to drew our attention to this is a banyan tree, but banyan tree with branches. And so the mind goes, why branches? Because each branch becomes a root by itself. So that is why they draw our attention to the banyan tree. Vata Vitapi. Vata Vitapi Samipe, near this tree. Samipe is near. Samipyam is near. Vata Vitapi Samipe. So we have understood the significance of banyan tree, right? Every branch has the potential because the roots come from top. In all the other trees, roots are below the earth. Here the roots come from above the earth, into the earth, and then gives birth to another tree. This is a very fascinating concept in the banyan tree. A tree which directly bears fruits, no flowers. A tree which doesn't grow taller but grows wider. That means, in other words, our consciousness needs to widen, not necessarily go up, but widen. So the tree, of course, goes up, but this is not one of those trees which are known for its heights. It's known for its spread. So the tree spreads, engulfing everything, entwining itself in that oneness, in that, and then once you get into this, it's almost like a forest. This tree itself becomes a forest. In other words, your consciousness begins to embrace everyone, everything. You find that you are part of everyone and everything here. Look around your home. Many times I look around my home and say, all this is, I would have purchased it at some point, under some circumstances, whether I like it or not, whether impulsive or not, all of this. So they are all extensions of my thoughts. They are all manifestations of me, us as a family, me as an individual. So look around you and see that all of these are your manifestations. In other words, your consciousness pervades that furniture, the size of the television, the kind of television, the kind of furniture in your home, and everything. Animate, inanimate objects. Children around you, families, everything around you, right from the clock on the wall, to the wristwatch on your hand, to the clothes you're wearing, to the bedspread, and everything is a manifestation from here. Isn't that fascinating? So the banyan tree is actually an expression of that. It's a very perfect resemblance of what is going on within us. And as our consciousness begins to expand, we embrace our family, we make sacrifices for our children, for our parents, for our grandparents, and we make sacrifices for family, right? So we become entangled with them. In other words, we become enmeshed in the family. Everyone's pain becomes our pain, everyone's joy becomes our joy. Then that family begins to grow in your consciousness. You begin to expand that same love because of the benevolence, because of the grace of the Guru. That is why Baba would tell us, go out and serve, go out and serve. Better than meditation, better than yoga and all of that. If you see so many discourses, he would say the best thing, start serving. Because in that service, you're taking time off from I, me and mine to let me do something for somebody whom I don't even know. So you're establishing new connections. In other words, your consciousness expands to embrace someone else. Someone else's pain becomes your pain for that moment. You don't even know that person. But when you're feeding that person, you feel, oh my gosh, I am so grateful. I have this food to eat and I'm giving this person today. And at that moment, there's a connection established between his spirit and your spirit. This branch that reaches out to him plants a root there. And you stay connected. And that deed will definitely come back to you in some form because the root is sown there. So thus, when you serve, every soul you touch, every being you touch, every act of yours becomes like this banyan tree, and therefore you begin to expand this way. That is why service is considered one of the greatest sadhanas. Sadhana is spiritual practice. One of the greatest spiritual practices, go out and serve. Every saint that you see, every master that you see, every teacher that you see goes out and begins to serve. He gets riches, he says, let me share it, let me share this. I want to serve. Because that becomes the very nature of the banyan tree. The only way the banyan tree grows is not taller and taller and taller, but spreads. And it goes on planting more and more roots as it goes. So much so that the core branch, the trunk of the tree gets almost hidden. and under that core sits Dakshinamurti. So it is, so another beautiful verse, and perhaps I'm repeating myself, but let me, because this is such a beautiful concept to meditate upon even as I speak here. The concept here is, how do you search for this Dakshinamurti who is in this banyan tree? So when I say one tree, it could be a cluster of so many branches, right? The banyan tree in Adayar in Chennai in South India is huge. There's another banyan tree, I forget the name. One of the members who part of this family, he sent me a tree, and I somehow forget the name of that tree. It's huge. It's just so amazing that to get to the core and to go to the main trunk where it all began is almost like you have to find your way in. There is no path there, because every path will get literally erased, as a matter of fact, in time. So there is no fixed path to the root of the tree. So imagine, there is no fixed path to God. There is no, this is the only path to God. If there's anyone who teaches you that, then there's perhaps making a mistake, because in that, the concept of this tree resembles that. This is what Adi Shankara teaches us. So meditating under the banyan tree itself, therefore banyan tree that resembles this has great potential and great energy for meditation. If those of you who are in Chennai in South India, make it a point to once in a while go down to Adayar banyan tree, sit there and meditate on some chosen days. But now it's rainy season, I guess, but whenever it is possible, may not be rainy season in Chennai at this point, but it's a beautiful experience. Just absorb the energy of the tree at that moment. The tree is, these trees are, they are rishis by themselves, each and every tree. That's why we have to respect these trees. And the banyan tree especially is a rishi among rishis. So, vata vitapi samipe. This supreme consciousness naturally chooses a banyan tree, not any ordinary tree. Banyan tree. So, where is this happening? Vata vitapi samipe, the banyan that has many branches. So, this is a huge place that he's talking about. Vata vitapi samipe, near that. So, near that means where he gets more beautiful in his poem. Vata vitapi samipe, bhumi bhage nishannam, bhumi bhage nishannam, bhumi, on the earth, a portion of the earth near the tree. And what do? They are seated. They are seated in the portion of the earth near the tree. How beautiful. It's a very poetic way of describing that. They are seated on the earth under the tree. The tree comes from the earth. So bhumi bhage nishannam, seated. Let us meditate on that beautiful verse. These are enlightened beings writing these. So take every word and say, why would they use bhumi bhage? Why couldn't they simply say seated under the tree? Why is bhumi bhage nishannam? To me, as practicing, as a practitioner of yoga, as a student of yoga, I understand this base of the tree as the base of the spine. So again, he's talking of this divine teacher rooted in the base of the spine, as well as the Sahasrara. That means potentially he's there, waiting to teach us. Bhumi is earth. Earth is connected to Mooladhara, a portion of the earth. In other words, in the Mooladhara, he's seated. To me, that becomes a very powerful means of meditation. So I'm just sharing you the way I learned it, the way I practice it, the way I perceive it. There are a million ways to perceive these very same meanings. Bhumi bhage nishannam. This divine teacher is seated there, potentially waiting to be unearthed, to be discovered, the treasure trove to be opened. Okay? So, vata vitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam. Vata vitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam. Nishannam. So the English lettering, if you see here, S as a dot underneath, it becomes sh. And N as a dot underneath, so it becomes na. And there are two of them. So nishannam. Okay? So vata vitapi, ta, it is not ta as in the, but ta as in Tom. Vata vitapi samipe, I with a slash on top becomes E. So vata vitapi samipe bhumi. Again, U as a slash on top, so it becomes U, not bhumi. Bhumi. Bhage, because of the slash on top. So wherever there is these vowels with a slash on top, you know that you have to expand that. Samipe, bhumi, bhage. So take these opportunities to understand the international accredited Sanskrit transliteration. This is a standard, IAST standard. So let's try and follow it. I can't promise you every time, but I'm going to try my best to stick to one way. So eventually, you will know the IAST versus way of reading Sanskrit, the English way of reading Sanskrit. Vata vitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam. Nishannam. Not nishanam. Nishannam. So there is a space. Seated near the vata vitapi. Beautiful. All right. Let's go to the next one. Vata vitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam sakala muni jananam. Sakala muni jananam. And all of them. So the question comes, where are they? So seated under this banyan tree in a small portion of the earth under the banyan tree are all these Sakala muni jananam. Sakala means all. Sakala. Muni jananam. Muni jana. Jana means the community. People. What kind of people? Muni jana. Sadhu jana, Muni jana. So Sadhu jana, Muni jana, Yogi jana. So they're all types of people. So here he says Muni jana. Now Muni jana, Muni is another word. Munis are another words for rishis and saints, sages. So Sakala Muni jana nam, all this community of rishis. What is happening there? Jnana dataram arat. Vatavitapi samipe. Vatavitapi, banyan tree, samipe, near, bhumi bhage nishannam, seated there. Sakala muni jananam, all these divine rishis who are seated around, what is happening? What is he doing to them? Jnana, wisdom, dataram, data, annadata, we say, right? Annadata. Data means giver. Dataram, bestower. So what is he bestowing? Jnana. He is bestowing jnana. Jnana here stands for the highest wisdom. Jnana dataram arat. How is that happening? Instantaneously. Instantaneously that jnana is flowing out. You see, the word instantaneously has very profound meaning here. It is something that you and I need to meditate upon and learn it again and again and redefine our concept of what we understand as spiritual progress. A room can be dark for many weeks, for many months, right? For many years. Because nobody perhaps lives in that home, so the room is locked and the room is dark. How long will it take for a room that has been in the dark for many, many years? How long will it take to bring light into that room? Will it take that many years? Not necessarily, correct? You can instantaneously remove the darkness by lighting a match, by lighting a candle, or by putting on the switch, assuming there is electricity. So you put on the switch, the light comes. The moment electricity flows, the moment the match is struck, the moment light comes, darkness is dispelled. How long was the room dark? Perhaps 8 weeks, perhaps 6 months, perhaps 2 years. But the darkness is dispelled by light instantaneously. Meditate on this one supreme truth. Because, why? Because we, you and I, are very prone to thinking that who am I? The self-realization is going to come someday. We are all just beginners in this path. We put on a cloak of humility, and that is not humility. That's a mind disguising as a humility thought or a humble thought, trying to keep you in that low self-esteem mode. So shun that away. know in your heart, believe in your heart, trust in your heart that the moment, at this moment, you and I, when we meditate on Dakshinamurti, the darkness is gone. At this moment, the darkness is gone. Don't assume every day I am meditating on Dakshinamurti, when am I going to see that light? That is a very, very wrong approach. That is a delusion our mind puts us in. Why do we get into that kind of delusion? Think of our education right from childhood. We have to learn something. We have to spend time to learn, acquire that skill. We had to wait a year to cross kindergarten, wait another year to cross first grade, and so on and so forth. So it takes us 10, 12 years to cross school, another 10, 12 years, depending on what we are doing, to cross graduation, post-graduation, and so on. Right? It takes time for us to get a degree and acknowledgement and accreditation, if you will, from somebody else who says, yes, you are now educated. So we have built it into our psyche that somehow we need to wait that long to get enlightenment. And it sounds almost blasphemous to say, wait a minute, you are already enlightened. How? Just say it. Just believe it. Nah, we say, nah, that can't be true. No. I am such a sinner. I have done so many weird things. I've been so materialistic in my approach. I've been all over the place. It's going to take me a while. I'm just a beginner in the spiritual path. I'll take time. My dear brothers and sisters, this is the disbelief, this is the delusion that Sadgurus like Baba break it. He breaks it. He says, wake up, start saying, I am God, I am God, I am not different from God. And that moment, what is happening to your mind? The mind is becoming God. What kind of God? Depends on whatever your defined God is. It becomes that. At that moment, like I said earlier, the mind does not have any shape of its own. It becomes at that moment whatever you're thinking. So at that moment, when instantaneous wisdom, you close your eyes and you become Dakshinamurti, at that moment there is enlightenment. So the matchstick lights up and the darkness is gone at that moment. Enjoy that moment. The fact that the matchstick dies off and darkness comes back again is irrelevant at this moment. That is why satsangs are so important, because at every time when I say welcome to this divine satsang, I truly mean it, because at this moment I know you and I are awakening to a higher realm. A divine realm, where there is only joy. And now after the satsang finishes, you might go back to television or TV or day-to-day work. That is fine. Don't blame that. Don't shun that away. But at this moment, enjoy and know that you are becoming Dakshinamurti. Allow that form to transform every cell in your body. Slowly that becomes more real, and what you think now which is real becomes slowly unreal. Allow that transformation to happen. But don't put it away saying, I am only a beginner, I don't know when this is going to happen, it all depends on God's grace. All that is your mind deluding you to believing, oh yes, you are the poor little thing, stay there. That is a comfort zone. These are the slokas that awaken us. So meditate. Why did you use the word Arat? How is he granting this wisdom? How is this Supreme Guru granting this wisdom? Instantaneously. So what happens in the Bhagavad Gita? Arjuna spends the first the whole chapter and then 11 slokas of the second chapter, he is spending all this time of poor me and mine and all, so that it shows sorrows, Arjuna's delusions, Arjuna's confusion, doubts, all of that. Very similar to what you and I undergo, right? And then Krishna has to speak. Krishna is quiet until Arjuna says, I give up, you take over, right? Teach me. What does Krishna do? Instantaneously, Sankhya. He directly gives the supreme wisdom to Arjuna right in the second chapter. He is not building up to the 18th chapter. Instantaneously, he gives the highest wisdom right then and there. Wake up, warrior. Na kirti karam Arjuna. Don't indulge in such infamous actions of doesn't befit a warrior. You talk like a pandit, but you are not a pandit, you are a confused person. He slashes him and then instantaneously tell him who you think you are. You are the Atman, you are the spirit. Now, you and I, as a teacher, would say, let's build it slowly, right? But the supreme teachers will give it to you right then and there, in black and white. Take it. This is the truth. You're searching for truth. Here, take it. You are God. You want God? You are God. But what do we say? Oh, yeah, that is too good to be true. Too good to be true. So we unfortunately turn away from the supreme treasure that is there. Where is the supreme teacher sitting, seated below the tree? So instantaneously, meditate on the word instantaneously, as much as you meditate on the word Nishannam, seated, banyan tree, all of that. Every word is worth meditating. So he gives, this teacher is giving these, the wisdom to these community of rishis in silence, but that is not taking years of silence and years of sitting. Instantaneously. That is why Brahmanishta, they are all rooted in Brahman instantaneously, because they, rishis, are all rooted in Brahman. In other words, they are unconditional in their surrender. They are just sitting and they open their mind. In other words, they are ready to empty their cup. They've already emptied their cup, their mind, their conditioned thinking. They are not sitting there saying, I am just a beginner, I don't know who I am, oh Baba, I don't know when all this will make sense to me. All this sounds nice, it sounds like a prayer, but it's not. It's a deluded mind talking. Put that aside and start telling, you are with me, I see the light. You are with me, you are the light. And therefore, when I meditate upon you, I become you, you become me. That was a secret that Hanuman discovered. That is a secret he shared with Bibhishana. He said, when I think I'm the body, I'll work as a servant. When I think of my emotions, I direct it and I become a devotee of Ram. When I'm alone and I think of Ram, then he and I become one. He and I become one. So it is not blasphemy. It is not Adhika Prasangam, as Baba would sometimes say. It is not. This is the wisdom that this divine teacher and all supreme teachers have come to give us. Jnana Dataram Arat. Instantaneously, they give it to you. So take it. Trust. That is where faith comes. Have faith in those words. Believe in those words. Meditate upon those words. Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadataramarat. Let's try it once more. Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadataramarat. Vatavitapi Samipe Bhumi Bhage Nishannam Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadataramarat. Once more. Vatavitapi Samipe Bhumi Bhage Nishannam Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadataramarat. Let us meditate on this beautiful verse until tomorrow's satsang. Think of the banyan tree. Think of the Muni Jananam. Think of the portion of the earth. Think of the wisdom that is granted instantaneously. And allow these thoughts to slowly become part of you and begin to believe that it is possible. Enlightenment is within our reach. And the day we become completely unconditional and surrender our minds to the divine, then you begin to understand the real meaning, that there was nowhere to go, no place to reach. The God that we were seeking is the God we always were. The I merges into the we becomes he, and there was only one, there is only one, and there will always be just the one. Let us therefore invoke the supreme one consciousness, the Samba Sadashiva, in the form of this divine teacher, meditating upon him, allowing this energy to fill every cell, every atom, every molecule in our body, so they all get transformed and raise our consciousness to the supreme place. Let us all go to this banyan tree, sit at the feet of the divine Guru.
ॐ भूः पुरुषं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपाय श्री सांब सदाशिवम् आवाहयामि। ॐ भुवः पुरुषं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपाय श्री सांब सदाशिवम् आवाहयामि। ॐ सुवः पुरुषं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपाय श्री सांब सदाशिवम् आवाहयामि। ॐ भूर्भुवः सुवः पुरुषं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपाय श्री सांब सदाशिवम् आवाहयामि। श्री गुरु परम गुरु परमेष्टि गुरु परात्पर गुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ओम नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परम गुरु परमेष्टि गुरु परात्पर गुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ओम नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परम गुरु परमेष्टि गुरु परात्पर गुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ओम नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परम गुरु परमेष्टि गुरु परात्पर गुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ओम नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परम गुरु परमेष्टि गुरु परात्पर गुरु महागुरुस्वरूपाय ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परमगुरु परमेष्टिगुरु परात्परगुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परमगुरु परमेष्टिगुरु परात्परगुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परमगुरु परमेष्टिगुरु परात्परगुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परमगुरु परमेष्टिगुरु परात्परगुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परमगुरु परमेष्टिगुरु परात्परगुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। श्री गुरु परमगुरु परमेष्टिगुरु परात्परगुरु महागुरु स्वरूपाय ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। ॐ सद्गुरुवे नमः। 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 गुरुदेवा 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 गुरुवायूर्पुर हरिदेवा गुरुवायूर्पुर हरिदेवा गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा गुरुवायूर्पुर हरिदेवा। Sadguruve Namaha. Om Sadguruve Namaha. Om Sadguruve Namaha. Om Sadguruve Namaha. Gurudeva, 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 Guruvayur Pura Harideva, Guruvayur Pura Harideva, Harinarayana, 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 Gurudeva. Sharanam, Sharanam, Sai Deva. Sharanam, Sharanam, Sai Deva. Om Sadguruve Namaha. 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 Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Guruvayur Pura Harideva, Guruvayur Pura Harideva, Harinarayana, 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 Harinarayana. Sharanam, Sharanam, Sai Deva. 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 Sai Deva, Sai Deva. Sharanam, Sharanam, Sai Deva. Om Sadguruve Namaha. Om Sadguruve Namaha. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. Jai Bolo Pavan Putra Hanuman ki Jai. Siyamar Ramchandra ki Jai. Satguru Sai Nath Maharaj ki Jai. Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadev. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.